Welcome to South Harmon.
Yeah, what is good, party people, shitheads? We are all here. That is not Mike, that is myself. That is Eric Van Eck and the beautiful Maddie Keywoom. And listen, speaking of beautiful guys, I want to tell you this. You guys come on set and it's like early and often, you know? They're just sitting there. It's sitting there waiting for us. Can we start docking McNuggets pay for every Dynasty pod missed? Make this shit like the NBA. Listen, I'll say this. On the matter, I think it's a pretty decent, one, super chat, right? Two, comment. But let's just say for three, for right now, temporarily, it's a tough time for us to start implementing this policy. Mike might be a little MIA for the next... I'm not actually going to put a time on it for a little bit of time here, all right? He's dealing with some McNutted-like things. So I'm all for the McNutted Raz, but give the kid a little pass here for the next week or so, all right? Let's let him get back in the flow. He's got some stuff going on at home. And listen, that just brings in what a perfect super chat in time. Mike's not here, but Eric, how you doing tonight? Maddie, how you guys doing tonight? What are you thinking about the draft coming up in literally 2 weeks away from tomorrow? Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, what's going on, Adam? I'm doing good, buddy. And the draft, man, I'm just ready for it to fucking get here. Like, these last 2 weeks, drag. Like, the whole last 2 or 3 months was, flown by. And then, the last, 2 weeks just drag ass. So, I'm,
you're just
ready for it. Let's get it going.
Yeah, just waiting for it to happen. Maddie, what are you feeling for the draft coming up, man?
Yo, at this point of the year, boys, I'm sick of the over the pants stuff. Let's get it on. Just like Eric said, I'm sick of all the razzle dazzle. Let's do the damn thing. Let's figure out where these guys are gonna be playing in 25.
Yeah, I like that, the over the pants stuff. Like we're kind of past nothing personal, but we're kind of past this mock drafts type of thing, right? We're doing mock drafts based on mock drafts. So we're just trying our best to acknowledge that we're doing the best we can without getting to the real thing. Speaking of the real thing, we're gonna be having a sweet stream here on Thursday. With some box breaks with our sponsor Signed Shit. Gonna probably be working in some certified shit, newly sponsored Fanatics. Maddie's the only one, apparently that's hip to this in attire. Let me ask you, what jersey is this exactly? I'm looking for a.
So this here, it's a Bills jersey. You might be saying, why do you have a Bills jersey on? You're a Pats guy,
Mafia guy.
Stephon Diggs.
That's what I thought.
Stephon Diggs is now on the Patriots. And I went over to Fanatics.com using our banner. And, look what I saw sprout up today. A little number 8 Stephon Diggs patch jersey. Looks like I got a new pickup.
Dude, I was just going to say, you didn't even need me to say anything. See, sometimes you just let the shit flow where it's supposed to go. You don't have to do much with it. And Maddie's... Go ahead.
I was going to say, can I jump in here real quick? I'm disappointed in Maddie. Maddie told me he bought a new jersey about a month ago, and he's not wearing it, and I'm disappointed.
I wore it last week when I was with Fizz and T.
Oh, okay. I missed it.
I was going to wear it because I had the conversation with you. The serendipitous moment started with you, E. And when I saw that at Dick's Sporting Goods, I had to buy it.
Dude,
I had to.
I love, Maddie, what you're dealing with right there, see, that's very much my ilk where... The reason certified shit's really in existence, amongst other probably real reasons, for me personally, what I like to tell myself is there's a whole line and wardrobe at this point next to me of jerseys that are not the appropriate team, color, whatever the variation may be, number. Certified shit will take care of you, and do it the South Harmon way. Go ahead and get you some new gear. Speaking of, though, for me, I'm looking to see where these rookies are going, especially for me, I like... Where some of these running backs go and how early is going to, in my estimation for this draft, I'm not discounting Cam Ward or any of the quarterbacks. I'm not doing that. But to me, the tight race at the running back position and how wide the gap is between guys like Jeanty and Hampton and Trev and, Judkins, that's going to come down to landing spot and draft capital. And, I see, multiple worlds, if you will. Call me crazy. I am crazy. All right. I see a lot of different worlds though playing out where maybe there's a big 3 to 5, depending on how early and to which spot these running backs are going. For you guys right now, just off the rip, is there a running back landing spot that you think is the most premier to all these running backs as long as it's in a certain round, let's say. I'll start with you, Maddie.
These are my S tier spots. And by S tier, I mean these are the landing spots that could close gaps between tiers depending on the round.
Okay.
And my number one is Denver. Denver's my number one. I think it's the ace landing spot, particularly for a guy like Travion. Someone we know will be on the field 3 downs based on his ability to catch the ball and protect the quarterback and pass pro. We've seen what Sean Payton has done with multiple styles of running backs, but in particular the Alvin Kamara, demon. So if a guy like Travion, even if he's third running back off the board to a Denver in round 1 or even 2, that's a tier, closer upper for me.
Okay.
I can get behind that. Honestly, I think to your point, if we know that this is a early second round pick where it's a top 50 type player and that type of offense with the way in which the scheme is going to benefit him, especially one like Travion Henderson, to your point, that should benefit from the pass catching opportunity and upside. We're talking rockets. We're talking rocket to the moon upside play. Eric, what about you? Anything in addition? Is that your premier one, or is there any other ones you want to talk about?
Yeah, I had Travion. I kind of would like him to the Vikings. You might have to wait a year on that one with Aaron Jones there, but I'll go with somebody different. I'm going to go with Quinshon Judkins to the Raiders.
Ooh, to the Raiders.
And
okay.
With Chip Kelly there, Chip Kelly already has a familiarity with him, and they literally have nobody else of consequence there. And I think Judkins can come in and be that workhorse, be a Marshawn Lynch type player there for Pete Carroll and Chip Kelly and all that. They love to run the ball. Chip loves it. Pete loves it. That they're going to get 250 rushing attempts there, guaranteed. So that's one spot I would love somebody like that to go. So Judkins to the Raiders.
Yeah, I can get behind that one too. It's kind of interesting because we're talking about obviously 2 Ohio State backs, but more so we're talking about traveling back in time into the present as well with seeing how these guys and these coaches are going to use the running back position and how much they prioritize it, and saying, all right, let's go back to the future right now with Quinshon. There's a couple guys obviously I think that fit the bill for just the idea of a Marshawn Lynch light, so to speak, right? Where you see how he was just a bruising battering ram, the Beastquake. We're looking for that 2.0. I think Quinshon is one of the few. To me, him and Jeanty would be the guys that I could just see being, just the disruptive backs. Obviously, Cam Scatterbo, but I just don't expect him to be someone that's going that early. If it was to be where he's early round 2 to the Raiders, holy shit! Look out, we're talking totally different scenario. But what do you guys think as far as Quinshon? Is that for you the same, Maddie? Is it Vegas, or is there somewhere else that you'd like for him to go?
Vegas is so nice on so many different levels, and I think it's very, very within the realm of possibility. And another thing about Quinshon going in round 2, it means that the Raiders went elsewhere in round 1. So if it's an offensive lineman or a pass catcher, something that further pushes the offense forward, that could be good for a guy like Judkins. Another landing spot in the second round is one of those 2 Chicago Bears, 39 at 41. If Ben Johnson wants his David Montgomery to patch up with DeAndre Swift, who's a little bit more of that jitterbug type, I think Quinshon going to Ben Johnson's offense in Chicago would also be dirt nasty.
Yeah, it would. I mean, do you guys think that the Bears are in play with their early pick, or do you think that they're going to be trying to wait till round 2? It seems like, at least from what I'm hearing, and when you look at a mock, they don't allow the running back position not to be addressed within the first 2 rounds. But what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think they're going to go after just the premier absolute stud back early, or do you think they're going to wait till round 2?
I think they have 2 really back-to-back second-round picks. I think it's 39 and 41.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So I think that's probably where they would take their back. Now, obviously, if Jeanty falls to them at 10, which I don't think he will, then they probably take Jeanty. But I think the more likely spot is they address it with that 39 or 41st pick.
Yeah, I think we would love to see the top 10 running back go to Chicago. and to your point, if it's Jeanty, maybe it would be, but
I mean, I think Jeanty's the floor at 10. Like, that's the lowest he gets is 10. Like, he ain't dropping below that.
I would agree. I just think from the standpoint of that would be awesome for fantasy. But if you look, at least to me, the way that the Bears are building now, I mean, you could definitely have your qualms with Caleb Williams and what we've seen from, Jaden Daniels. That you could fight the actual specific picks, but the way that they're just building this team, right, from a standpoint of roster construction, if you will, right? Warp is life, right? If you just utilize that, like their roster construction, the way they're building is almost so like it's just of the guide, right? It's almost like going by the book in blackjack. They're doing it so correct that I feel like picking at 10, it just feels like it goes a little bit too against the grain of what they're building and how they're doing it, right? They're doing a little too by the book to say, now we're going to take a running back at 10. I think it'd be awesome, but it feels like that they just know and they're going to build around what makes sense, and typically that's very early for a running back. So I would love to see Jeanty there or Hampton, but I think frankly we're looking at an early round 2, and I don't think that's something we should really care that much about. That's still extremely early draft capital for a running back.
Yeah, we see a lot of primetime selections between like pick 35 and 55. That's where we've seen guys like Jonathan Taylor selected, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker, even going back to like Derrick Henry. That seems to be a nice sweet spot for running backs.
Yeah, it's basically, so to speak, unless we saw Bijan and Gibbs, your true alpha difference, they're just different breeds, right? Outside of that, though, that's like the new first round, so to speak, right? You get that early round 2 draft capital. Let me ask you then, besides Quinshawn here and Travion Henderson, right? We assume, I think at this point, Hampton and Jeanty should go in the top 10, like Eric already talked about. I think Hampton's going to get himself backed into the first round. Anybody here that you think has chance to get inside top 50 draft capital along with these 4 fellers?
Let's see.
Top 50. I have to see the exact.
I'm thinking, and I'm saying top 50 because to Maddie's point, I think that there's a difference to be made. Not that day 2 is not great, right? But there's a difference in saying, hey, we went and got this running back very early in the day 2 versus you could have, honestly, there's compensation, like compensatory picks in round 3 that you're talking like pick overall 100, where I think there's a big difference to be noted. So using that distinction, just curious for you guys if you think anyone has that type of upside in draft capital for this class.
I could see a guy like Caleb Johnson being in there.
Yeah, Caleb.
If the Cowboys decide, let's go a little bit more conservative. Let's grab Golden at 12. Let's go defensive line over in the or something like that in the first round. Then you get him at pick 44. That could be Caleb Johnson, or that could also be one of the guys we've talked about here, like a Quinshawn Fallon. But I think Caleb Johnson's good enough to get inside the top 50.
Yeah, I think he's the one. I think you hit it on the head, and it sounds like, Eric, that was where you were going to with Caleb Johnson. I think that's the one that threads the needle. Yeah. I feel like I'm curious your guys' thoughts on this. Sometimes, you use the word guilty by association. Now, just off the rip, that sounds negative, but a lot of times guilty by association doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It just means you're kind of by association thought of with this mold. And I think for him, Caleb Johnson, if he's running and doing the combine in a different year, like he didn't go out there and light it on fire, right? But he really didn't do poorly. I mean, I just feel like right now, by association with everybody else that was out there in this class that's highly touted at running back that did so damn well, it's almost like we're double counting in a dumb way with Caleb Johnson that he wasn't a blazer in the 40. One, the 40-yard dash, for those that don't know, is extremely technique-driven, meaning you may not actually be as fast or as slow as your 40-yard dash because of the way that you have to come out of the blocks. And it's actually, for the most part, not necessarily something that we're doing in football, right, straight out of the gates. And with him, you look at miles per hour, a lot of this, the overall way that he plays, this isn't a slow player, and his 40-yard dash doesn't indicate that he's slow. But I feel like right now there's again, guilty by association of the 40-yard dash that he's not that fast or that he's slow. I think that might be, with draft capital, something that we look back on as a blip in the system. Like we didn't really – we overthought that with him. So I totally agree. I think he could be top 50. Do you think there could be a fall for him, though? Do you see a scenario where he's like in middle to late round 3?
Yeah, I mean, everything's possible, especially with these running backs. I think there's going to become a point, especially like the second round, teams are going to pass on the running back just because simply there is so many of them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I think they're like, okay, we can wait till round 3 now. We can maybe pass on a Caleb Johnson who might be first on our board, but we don't have, DJ Giddens next, our next guy on the board. It's not a big difference between the two, but this corner, this offensive lineman, we should get this guy first. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, Eric, sometimes you just make so much damn sense. That's why this America's Game podcast is in your name. It's almost like when we're doing a draft.
Shit since the early 90s, buddy.
Speaking of Maddie, I know Maddie's coming up soon. Maddie's ready to get the over the pants dance gone with. And listen, me and Eric are on our way, buddy. I don't want to tell you what's happening below here. All right, we'll leave that for you guys' imagination. But Eric and I are in a real draft right now, and I'll just tell you, to me, there's tiers, and I want all of them. I've drafted nothing but running backs and shit for. And if you go check out warp.life, Warp is Life, you'll see that the running back line for just take all of them. You can give me whichever one. They could all stink. They can't all stink, though. Not all the ones I'm drafting. And to your point, I think that's the only way in where if you're a GM, right, or you're a team, drafting, maybe you really do like Caleb Johnson as, let's say, you're running back 5 in this scenario. This is just obviously hypothetical. We're just talking it out. We're trying to give you the imaginative real life. But is the difference between Caleb Johnson at, let's say, 40-something, what does that look like versus, man, maybe we can wait till the 70s, our next pick up, and we got like a chance at 5 guys that we don't feel like are that much of a fall off from Caleb, and they're pretty close on our big board. So I think that dance, so to speak, right, is going to be what's really interesting for the running backs. Because I think truly we have probably 10 day 2 type running backs in this class. The reality is, though, because there's almost so many of them, I think it's going to end up hurting how many go in day 2, and then you'll see a lot maybe go early day 3. To me, I'm almost at this point like we'll see what shakes out. But I could be looking at a lot of these early round 4 players, like early day 3 picks, and I'm going to almost not discount them very much as if they were drafted in day 2. What are your guys' thoughts on that overall? Maddie, what do you think?
So when you kind of look at the board and how it pans out, I think we're fully expecting up to 4 running backs off the board by pick 40-41.
Yeah. Yep.
That's through the 2 Chicago picks, the Raiders pick in round 2, and then it just becomes, how do these guys grade out on these professional big boards? Because I know there's a lot of options, but Caleb Johnson, I do think that the NFL is going to look at this guy as someone that in the right scheme can be truly effective and be a kind of a difference maker. So I really see it being tough for him to fall into round 3. But I think we'll see maybe just 2 or 3 go in round 2. Round 3, though, to your point, it could be either crickets because they're just getting ready for that Saturday to go nuts.
Or
kind of like we saw
fireworks.
last year.
Yeah.
Last year was like, where are the backs? Where are the backs? And then it was just like, bam, 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 bam. They all just started racking off the board in day 3.
Bucky Irvin and all them went, right? Yep.
Exactly. We started in round 4. We saw Shaw, Dylan Lobby go. We saw both the guys of the Jets go. It was just like Tyron Tracy. It was a huge run. We could see that with probably better graded guys, but I think with the run that we'll see early, starting with Jeanty, like you said, Eric, going off the board potentially in the top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Then Hampton shortly after, Henderson, Quinshon. I think we'll see that kind of vacuum forward more than backwards, and we see a lot of guys go in either that Thursday or that Friday. Because the difference between kind of waiting on and taking a pick and being a little bit aggressive might be a big difference on these these NFL teams' big boards, because a lot of these guys from like the draft circles that you're following and listening to the people inside the buildings, this is a special class that are going to have a lot of players highly rated on NFL big boards.
Yeah. Fizz all of a sudden trying to pretend like he's been here the whole time. What's up, Fizz? My guy, Never judge a man by his 40. I love that line. And Eric's here, And Eric, I'll just tell you the truth. I'm not going to mince words around you as much as me and you are both Ohio State guys, right? And we love both Trevion and Quinshon.
Ohio State.
Say it again, damn it. Say that again.
State.
Ohio State University. Listen, if you watch the Ohio State University play Notre Dame, Quinshon Judkins breaks through a absolutely massive hole. I mean, there's no read in this at all, right? Boom. And if you look, he takes the angle, right? Trying to actually, I'd say, because he's not actually a perennial track star, he's trying to take an angle to get away from the fact that he's going to get caught. And if you watch it, while he does get caught, there was not just going to be one person that catches him before he makes it to that pylon, guys. There's at least 2, if not 3 Irish that are going to do that. Now, I will admit, I don't know those players' names. I think the Irish never put names on jerseys. That's just what they do. So, but regardless, I don't know what those players' names are. I don't know how fast they are. But I'd venture to say that if we line them all up right now for 40, they're not all running under 4.4, sub 4.4. And I'm just going to say, again, with the Ohio State University, what they do is systematic. Those guys are prepped. You rarely see a guy from Ohio State go out there and just plummet on the 40-yard dash. Quinshon knew exactly how to run this thing, and he killed it. But don't try to tell me all of a sudden now that Quinshon Judkins is running away from 95% of NFL players. That's just not going to be the case. I'm not saying he's a slow player, right? But if you put too much, to Fizz's point, into the 40-yard dash, you're going to be disappointed one way or the other. I'm not saying not to tell you that he didn't do great, but don't get it confused that he's going to be running away from every player that plays NFL on Sunday. It's just not happening.
Mm-hmm. No, that's not his game. That wasn't his game in the SEC. That wasn't his game at Ohio State. But yeah, he's not Travion. Travion is the guy that gets away.
And what's kind of interesting is if you didn't know anything about the players, Matty, to your point, if you hadn't watched much of them, there's definitely a thunder and lightning element to them. And I'm not trying to tell you Quinshon's slow, but if you just looked at their 40-yard dash and that's all you knew, you would think that they're basically the same as far as their speed goes. I'm here to tell you that's just not the case. I'm sorry. Now, do what you will with it. Tell me I'm an idiot and I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, to be honest, you're probably not wrong most of the time. But for this, I promise you I know what I'm speaking on. Yeah, it's in their Madden speed rating that counts. That's true, Redwoods. Redwoods always comes with a gem, you know. Madden speed rankings always get it right.
That's part of the Ravens model. Madden stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Question for you guys now. Is there a running back for you, right? So we talked about those 5 with Caleb Johnson here. Running back 6. I'm curious. This is kind of where, to me, the draft is very interesting and where people's rankings tend to differ tenfold, like extremely wide variance I've seen from running back 6, depending on the person you're looking at. If it's someone doing mock drafts, NFL scout, fantasy football creator, whatever it may be. For you guys, running back 6, clear consensus? Do you see it in a big tier? Where are you at with the next running back on the list after Caleb? And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not even your top 5 right there.
No, that's my top 5.
Okay.
I'm just looking at it as let's see. So I have it Devin Neal, Scatabo, Giddens in the same tier as these guys, and then it drops off. So yeah, I have Devin Neal, and I really like his game, man. He might not have the blazing 40 like we talked about, but man, that guy can play. He can be a hell of a running back. And if we look at, the last 3 drafts, we had Kyron Williams. Everybody shitted on him after his his combine. Like, he was just shovels full of dirt buried on that guy. And look what happened to him. Bucky Irving last year, same thing. Shitty combine, shitty numbers. Everyone got off of him. You just kind of have to just watch the tape sometimes and see this dude knows how to play running back. And I'm just not falling into that trap of Kyron and Bucky again. And I watch it with my eyes. I see that he's good. I really like Devin Neal. What
are you doing? I'm burying you. I'm alive, man.
I'm burying you.
Yeah, that was Kyron for sure. And Kyron, man, Eric, you guys are – I wish – people probably think we prepped for this. I mean, I promise we didn't, but it looks really good. I love this because the film to me with Devin Neal is one of those where he very much to Kyron, I will say similar to Blake Corum of last year, but I think with a little more pops than Blake Corum's, where he always does what you're expecting him to do. His vision's very good. He takes what's there. He is not someone that pops off on tape. And to your point, his measurables weren't like, holy shit. And in this class full of freak athletes that have a bunch of high measurables, you don't leave like, man, Devin Neal was just him, right? And I don't know, probably a lot of people didn't see him at Kansas. I think he's a plus back that in the right system. I will say with this, like Kyron Williams, if you put him in a system that's not the Rams, where they utilize him in McVay's system, it may not be quite as special. But I think that Devin Neal in the right system actually has a chance to be someone that has at least primary ball carrier opportunity and probably a plus if it's good offensive line in a system that you would like to see a running back in. So that's running back 6. And here's the thing. I like him a lot, but he's not my running back 6, but he's in that tier, that next tier to your point very much. Maddie, what do you think? What's yours running back 6?
My running back 6 is Scatterbo. So I'm going with Cam Scatterbo for my number 6, but it's in the same tier. Very similar to Ease.
Give us the Cam deal.
So for me, it's just uber productive in college. I mean, the production was absurd. I like to track, well, we all kind of do, putting together the rookie guide, of course. Go to southharmonff.com. Get the 2025 rookie guide.
Yes, sir.
Right now. We have 4 updates. Who's updating it 4 times? We're killing it. We're making sure it's updated for each and every one of you.
Shout out to Maddie. DraftGuide25.com is just absolutely a gem. Maddie's got it going, man.
You know, there's a lot of good work. A lot of fucking work was put into it, so check it out. You know,
we put liquid glue on a bee, and it didn't die. It's the draft guide, you know?
Yo, facts. Honestly, if you know, that's facts. But for Scatterbo, he didn't run, don't care, uber productive. As I mentioned, 29 fantasy points per game last year at Arizona State. Good vert, though. Showed he was pretty explosive. You know, he was top 12 in broad jump, second best vertical jump amongst running backs. So, you know, he's got enough burst, I think, to get through the holes. You see it in the tape that he can kind of get through the holes, and he's a good pass catcher. I got Scatterbo at 6, and I think the NFL is going to love him. And kind of my rationale overly behind is, if the NFL loved Blake Corum enough to take him where they took him last year, then how the fuck would they not like Cam Scatterbo?
Damn.
Right.
Maddie out here dropping bars. Maddie, where you get all them dimes from? You know, Maddie's out here just dropping them. I like that.
South Harmon rookie guide, baby.
I love Cam Scatterbo.
I do too.
He's so fun to watch.
Yeah, and to me too, the element of the underdog with him, right? A guy that, if you don't know, came from Sacramento State, all right? And that's the Hornets for those that...
0-star recruit.
Yeah, right. That type of a player that does so well there, gets an opportunity to go play at Arizona State, is playing in big, meaningful games. And just that, like, the mentality of the little dog that does have a bite, right? And he's up there saying, I'm him. He's telling reporters unnecessarily just that I'm that guy. And I'll say, when you play sports, like, to be the top level, you have to have a little bit of delusion in you. Like, I don't care what people say. You have to be delusionally into your own personal abilities. If you're not delusional a little bit, I'm going to need to see you just be outrageously good to overlook that, because that's typically what happens. It's just that alpha in him. And to see his rise, I'm excited for it. I think Cam, to me, is one of these guys that if he lands, let's say in round 3, I'm gonna have so much excitement for where I've taken him in these pre-NFL rookie drafts, because it's gonna be wheels up. I think if Scam makes it to round 4, later part of round 4, the later his draft capital is, I think that will probably put a lot of... Realistically, I think the pendulum can swing one way or the other with his dynasty stock and the way that people view him because of his draft capital. If he gets the opportunity, though, and he gets the chance to be a primary ball carrier, I think the team's going to be hella excited, man. He may not be able to run away from defenders, but I don't really care about that. He also, 4.65 at his pro day. He did enough to show me he's not extremely slow. Like, that wasn't his calling card anyway. He is a bruiser. And I'm kind of interested to see if it works. He kind of just has this battering ram mentality. Like, I'm going to just go hit you before you can hit me. We'll see if that works with these big NFL players.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Is there anyone that you think is being really slept on at the running back position? We'll finish the running back here. If people are tired of us talking running backs, too bad, because that's all we're going to do about this class, okay? So We'll end it though. We'll pivot after this. All right, running backs though. Is there anyone that you think is being heavily discounted that could end up being a really, really big surprise for our fantasy teams?
I gotta go with my guy Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon's caught a lot of shade. I still have him as a top 10 back in the class. We saw how crazy productive he was in 23. 24 was a mess, but Oklahoma State
What's up,
was
Jake?
an absolute shit show.
I know you're not talking
He's
to me,
got
but it's
the
okay. I
size.
was just telling you hi.
I think with the right scheme fit, Ollie Gordon could end up being a huge value, especially if you're doing your rookie drafts now.
I like that call. Damn it, I like that call. I'll be honest with you, Maddie. You're pulling at my heartstrings. Like you're making this whole pants dance thing get really crazy because I want Ollie Gordon and Cam, Scatabo, Scam. I kind of like that.
Nah, scam's the move.
Scam's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy, but I kind of will just roll with it. I want those two players almost more than anybody in this class to get the draft capital. Ollie Gordon, it's also just so frustrating for me as like if this guy came out last year, same thing. You could make the exact same case with Luther Burden. If he came out last year, there's totally different conversation about where this player is going and how we think of him as a running back. The situation was fucking dog shit, y'all. Like I'm not trying to give Ollie Gordon a complete pass on this year. He did not look as impressive. But one thing about the running back position in general is like we know you have to work with what you're given. And the stable up front does a lot of the driving for how good and how high end a running back can be. If Ollie Gordon is actually someone that gets drafted in the early part of round 4, it's wheels fucking up, baby. Give me all of the Ollie Gordon. Eric, let's hear your to the moon running back, and then we got music, baby. We got more super chats.
The moon. So the one guy that I think could be a big time fantasy guy if he hits is DJ Giddens from Kansas State. Like that dude is electric, make you miss in the open field type of runner. I really, really like him. If he gets to the right system, draft capital, all that good stuff, I really think DJ Giddens could be that one guy that's, we're talking about as a top 10 to 15 dynasty running back next year if he gets there. So yeah, DJ Giddens.
I like the call on DJ Giddens too. There's a lot of running backs that you could put there, but with Giddens, to me, I think he in particular has the size and skill set to be 3-down player, but in particular, one of those where in PPR leagues, you could be like, holy shit, this guy might be amongst the creme de la creme, if you will, of pass catchers at the running back position. So I like it. The thing is, someone put in here, Jaden Blue's on here. I'm not going to say no. He's not my cup of tea, so to speak. But listen, there's Martinez and Sampson. I think both have in their cards, if they get the correct draft capital, right landing spot, like wheels up to the moon. Listen, this is a good class to shoot your shot on the running back to the moon upside plays. Listen, one thing we do around here, though, okay, guys? It's just what we do. We do super chats. All right? Period. Zach Jan, appreciate the super chat. Dynasty, start 11 in the super flex. Mike would be wherever he is. He's happy. Okay, we're not doing 10 team. We're not doing 1 QB. He was offered Rashee Rice and Sticky. This is interesting. Speaking of over the pants, Sticky Ricky Pearsall for Rome and JMO. I hear Rice is recovering well, and in my opinion, not buying into the Bears hype until I see it. But what's your take? Take the offer. I'll just say this. I recorded it it's over a week ago now. I think tomorrow it'll be out. I did a Rome Odunze individual solo video. Let me get your guys' thoughts before I, derail this thing. Which side do you want here? Rashee Rice and the Ricky Pearsall hype, or Rome and JMO?
Let's see. Man, I think I would take the Rashee Rice and Pearsall side on this one.
Okay.
I've seen it with Rashee. I haven't seen it with Rome, to be honest. Like, I think he's a really good player. Could have just been the situation last year. And JMO finally came along last year, but he's never going to be that, like, 80, 90 catch guy like I think Pearsall and Rashee Rice can. So I think in PPR, like Rashee Rice and Pearsall could definitely be 90 to 100 catch guys, where I think as Rome could definitely get up there. I just don't ever think JMO would. So I think I'm going to take the guys that I know that are going to catch, 90, 100 balls. So I'll go with Ricky and Rashee Rice.
Okay. Maddie?
I'm going with the Rome Odunze side. I love the upside of Odunze. Coming into last year and going into last year going into the draft, there's so much ceiling left on the Rome Odunze profile, and now with Keenan Allen out, I mean, when you look at the fantasy production, 7 more points per game when Keenan Allen was not in the lineup, and that's I think our base for Rome. I think he's the one that can go mega super silly in 2025. Rice has definitely done it, but he's going to be coming back from the knee injury. We know that takes a little bit longer than a calendar year to really start cooking. Does he get suspended? How does he mesh with Xavier Worthy? And now with Hollywood Brown being on the field, I don't know if he's going to have that 100-catch base in next year. And Pearsall, we've seen him flash, but there's still Kittle, there's still Brandon Ayuk, and maybe Christian McCaffrey. I don't know if he'll make it, but if he's there. So I'm going to go with just the uber mega upside of Rome. I think if anyone in this deal is a holy fuck top 5 dynasty wide receiver this time next year, it's Rome. That's the one with the best chance.
Yeah, so I don't want to, do this whole video that I did. I don't want to put it all out there and ruin that video drop, but I'll just say this. I'll give you some of the takes from me that when I think about it relative to this situation that are key. So Rashee Rice, I think at this point, right? Like when I look at it let's just look at our good friends. So we have sponsors out there, but I promise you Keep Trade Cut's not one of them, although we mention them like they are our true sponsors every single time. Just for the sake of seeing this out, right? The wide receiver position, Rashee Rice, he's held his value tremendously. Wide receiver 17. Like if you think about it from the standpoint of going into like this time last year, he was probably valued there or maybe even a little bit lower. His value's held. And I think for him, there's a scenario if he is very healthy out of the gates, he could probably get into that top 10 again, where he was when he was right before he got hurt, he was kind of on the heels of Nico Collins, let's say, somewhere in that range. I think that's in the cards. I also think like Rashee Rice, if he doesn't take the bull by the horns and is clearly this guy that's going to be like over 100 targets, just alpha in this offense with Mahomes, he may kind of hover around the spot or drop slightly. What I do know about the situation is, to me, Pearsall and JMO, you brought up a good point, Eric, with JMO. I think if you were a JMO owner this offseason, you got everything you could have hoped for in JMO this year. Like, truly, he was great. But I think if we're being honest about the situation, which I tried to be last year, and I guess I was dishonest. If we're being honest, though, I think this is that's kind of what he's going to be. A boom or bust wide receiver 3 with upside that just doesn't have game takeover target share in his realm of possibilities, very likely, given what they have there. What I do see with Rome Odunze, it's kind of interesting to me in general from this standpoint. One, we knew with Keenan Allen signing this year that he was probably going to be, if everything went the way we expected and Allen stayed primarily healthy, which he did, the third fiddle there. He was. We've actually only seen 4 teams in NFL history have 3 players at the receiver position have over 100 targets in the same year. The Bears are one of them. Rome Odunze, one of them. One of the things about it, if you look at it, right, 734 yards, a couple pretty big games when Keenan Allen was out, but overall disappointed. But you know what else? Keenan Allen was the leader in the NFL targets last year. He came into this situation and he fucking sucked. DJ Moore didn't actually do that well in this Bears system. You can say what you want about Rome, but think about it from the standpoint of this system disappointed every wide receiver that played for it this year, 2 of which we really fucking like and have big laundry list resumes to say they're good damn receivers. Rome basically gave the same output as Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen's gone. Everything about this offense is set to explode. Offensive line, upgrade. Ben Johnson, upgrade. He's already at 100 targets, and if he gets the Keenan Allen type of situation, where does Keenan Allen play, guys? Keenan Allen plays in the slot. Every time they're going to be having Keenan Allen out there, Rome can now go into the slot, operate into a absolute unit, absolute monstrosity. We thought of him close to. If you didn't have him in the same tier, you had him just behind Marv and Malik Neighbors as a prospect. Yep. He's going to be on an offense that's buzzing. And to me, right now at wide receiver 16, everything that you thought about JSN, imagine that with a little bit of percolation. I see him where he could easily be a Nico Pless when we look at the situation a year from now. And here's what I will say as well. With DJ Moore, think about the DK Metcalf situation with JSN. What's to be keeping Rome Odunze from becoming that number one overall player that Caleb Williams is targeting? And just last point, team investment. The Chicago Bears last year, there were 6 quarterbacks drafted in the top 12, right? And the reason that's so big is they sat there at 9. The Vikings traded up actually to the pick after them, 10, to get J.J. McCarthy. They were 100% calling the Bears, and the Bears said, no. There's not. Right. You can't give us a free player. You can't give us a free pick to come get this. Not just that. I don't want to spoil it, but I will. I have a clip of the Bears trying to trade up from 9 to 8 on the clock to get Rome Odunze. They were willing to pay an extra pick to do this. Rome Odunze is a massive part of their plans. And I feel like the reality is it's not sexy, again, guilty by association. All these other wide receivers did so well. I feel like Rome right now just did the status quo last year. And it's like we almost forget because of what we knew going into the situation. We're like almost discounting it twice. So to me, Rome Odunze to the fucking moon. I will say though, this is close. And depending on what you think of Pearsall, I could switch to the other side. I'm all aboard the Rome train right now. You guys let me know what you thought of it. Sorry for talking so damn long. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, man, because this is a good question, and I appreciate the super chat. Zach?
That was $10 well spent, Zach. You got me rocked up. I'm bricked up. I don't know if you saw my microphone, raised a couple inches, but that Rome Odunze got me all hot and bothered, brother.
Yeah, that the little cover you got on here, I saw it kind of swell up. It's like, dude, look at that thing.
Oh, sorry.
That sure looks like a good time right there.
You guys talk about Rome again? Hold on. Talk about Ricky Pearsall.
Well, Rome wasn't built in a day, Matty. People want Rome to be built in a day, man. Come on, guys. Listen, I think Eric gave a good counterpoint too. So Zach, let us know what you do. Yeah. Let us know which side was yours, by the way, too, because I kind of like the idea of, hey, don't tell me which side is mine, because I think people want to lean to one way or the other based on what the person has. Now, I'm going to tell you straight up, and then you tell me what side you have. And if you don't like it, so be it. All right, Baker in the 106 for Pickens, Hubbard, and Bryce Young. Steer me. Oh, if you want to be steered, my friend, we can steer you over here. Where are you at, Eric, here? This is a good one. Baker in 106. Okay, so speaking of those running backs we talked about, right? Think about having a chance to go get your guy. One of, which one's not Hampton or Jeanty potentially. 4, Pickens, Hubbard, and Bryce Young. Crispy, before I make Eric answer this question, context would be massive here, right? Is it Superflex? 12 team? Yeah. How many starters? Best ball lineup? That would be massive. Eric, just on the general standpoint, though, do you have a lean? Do you want to steer Mr. Crispy?
So I'll just go off that it's going to be Superflex League and probably just regular PPR, all that good shit.
Yep.
I think the Baker and the 106 side, you're getting the 2 best players in the trade. So I'm going Baker and 106. Pretty easy for me. So, yeah. I mean, Bryce Young is still he finished off really good last year. But if you look at Dynasty ranks, he's still fucking 18, 19, 20,
Ooh.
Somewhere in there.
This changes things a little bit for me. 10 team Superflex. Okay. Just to maybe throw you a curveball here, but lineup. Okay, so same principle, but let's say 10 teams, a little shallower. Go ahead, Eric. Any different thoughts? Or
yeah, it's a little shallower, but I mean, I'm still getting the 2 best players in the trade, the Baker and the 106. That 106 is probably going to be better than Pickens and Hubbard combined. So, yeah, give me Baker and the 106 pretty easy.
Matty?
The 10 team actually makes me want the Baker 106 side even more because I don't maybe it's just me, maybe it's my personal outlook on Pickens. I don't think Pickens is going to be a regular starter in 10 team leagues. I think more often you're not a winning team if he's one of your starters. Hubbard, for sure. But in a super flex with Baker, I mean, Baker in the 2 years in Tampa, QB 17 points per game last year, QB 4. Let's say he goes back to QB 17. I still think that will be a more productive fantasy asset than Bryce Young in 2025. You get the liquidity of the 106. I'm with Eric here. I'm going landslide Baker in 106.
Yeah, to your point, a good point you just made it there at the end. I think if he has a floor like season, Baker that is, probably going to be in the range of where Bryce's season would finish if he took that step forward, right? Obviously, there's the age factor here, and Bryce Young in small windows last year did have a rushing element that was surprising. But to me, the reason 10 team was such a big deal, while the quarterbacks become less important here, I'm basically still have an upgrade on the Baker side, right? The difference now is like, if you're telling me it's a 12 team where we're starting 11 or 12 players, Pickens in that format is intriguing. In 12 teams start 10 or 9, I already kind of want to get Pickens out of here. Like I want to move that value to somebody else's team. In a 10-team league, Pickens is the problem here. Pickens is the reason why that side that's getting 3 is getting boned, period. Like to me, like Bryce Young and Baker, I think value-wise in Dynasty are close. I want Baker more stable, right? 106 versus Hubbard, and I love Chuba Hubbard, 106. So in a shallow format, a guy like Pickens is going to become more of a – I don't want to actually call him a roster clogger, but he kind of is a little bit in a 10-team league. Like if you have too many decisions of a guy like Pickens ilk where it's – let's call it wide receiver 30 types, you're going to have a headache making decisions, and you don't have – you want to tier up. It's all about tiering up in a 10-team league, and that's easily, to me, the Baker side. So we're all in agreement, man. We are all in agreement. They sleeping hard on Hubbard, and the GP point is valid. Yeah, trust me, I'm not sleeping on Chuba. Go back a year ago. I was waking motherfuckers up, all right? I was telling people about Chuba Hubbard, all right? I told you so. Now, Jake was in the building, all right? I do know that. I get it. But I did my best. I do love me some Hubbard. You guys do like Chuba. I'll tell you this. Caleb's in the building. He has a question for you. Also a statement. He's still bricked up for Breece. Well, Caleb, may not be many of you left, but I love to hear it. Love to see it. Is a 26 mid-first and a 27 first too much for Breece? Absolutely. It absolutely is. I'm not telling you can't make the trade. Market right now does not warrant 2 firsts for Breece Hall. To me, I'm not doing this to get Breece Hall. If you are let me just tell you why, in a few different reasons. One, if you're thinking about doing this and you're still bricked up for Breece, I can understand that. One of the things I'll just say is if you're trying to trade for a player that's kind of, I'll use Cam Akers, who was not anywhere near as high up as Breece was when he was peaking, but like someone that you're really making a stand for. While you may really feel great about Breece Hall, understand the community is soured. And what that means is if there's any type of volatility in the production and he doesn't bounce back in a large, massive way, you're going to get caught holding the bag that already people told you they don't want. They already gave you their feelings on you can get stuck with this bag. If you're in the conversation for 2 firsts, you can have your Breece Hall love, shoot higher. Like if I'm putting 2 firsts on the table for a running back, I'm out of the Breece Hall conversation, I'm shooting higher. And if I can't do that, I'm going to wait a little bit. I'm going to wait to a different time to make this trade personally. Where are you guys at on this one?
I'm right there. So you can use, if you go to southharmonff.com and you click on the lab, you can look up some recent trades involving players. I just looked up Breece Hall. And you have to go back to February to see a trade that had 2 first-rounders for Breece. I think that, to your point, Adam, we've seen the market sour since then. But now, since then, you're seeing trades like Breece Hall and a 25-second for a first-round pick.
Damn.
And I think that's kind of where I think we're headed. And I do think, and I won't put this, a lot of eggs in the basket per se. We've heard now more than one time that the Jets may move on from Hall if it means bringing in a Jeanty. So, I mean, sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire. I do think there could be a cliff in terms of Breece Hall value if there's just some running back. There's a lot there that can make me a little bit nervous about Breece. I think 1 first if it's a mid 20, I don't know. I think that's equal value. I think adding the 27 first makes it a lot. It's 2 firsts. Even if it's way down the road, feels like a lot.
Any different opinions or just other thoughts? Anything you got?
No, same thing. I think 2 firsts is too much, and I'm not giving up any 27 first. That class is fucking good. Fucking DJ Lagway. Oh my God.
It's titties up.
Jeremiah Smith, Ryan
That'll
Williams.
That'll be when
Cam Coleman.
Manning will come out in 26. He's not coming out in 26, fellas. He's coming out in 27.
We'll see. I mean,
he's going to be
Matt,
2 years.
Maddie's trying to.
He's going to be the first quarterback off the board next year. I think he can come out, but we'll see.
Maddie's trying to speak things in existence. He's almost. He's just trying to push.
Yeah.
He's just trying to shift value all into 27. I kind of like the idea. I'll just tell you one thing too, Caleb, from the fantasy side of things. I really like Breece Hall, the player, the talent, and I'm sorry I did purchase his jersey last year, and I normally wouldn't put too much onus on myself, but there tends to be a trend that's not great there. What I will say though, if you were just being honest about Breece Hall's situation, remove biases, all that. Let's even say Breece Hall has a better season as a rusher this year, which, if you think about what's happening, Justin Fields there, right? The opportunity, I think, for this team to do a lot of option in the run game makes sense. He could probably have a better rushing season given Justin Fields' prowess at rushing the football. But what do we know about Breece Hall? When he was the untouchable asset of Breece Hall in 2023, why? 95 fucking targets for 76 catches.
Yeah.
I would venture to say that we're being really dishonest with ourselves and everybody out there if we think that 100 targets is coming for a running back in this Jets offense if we included all of them as one back with Justin Fields at the helm. So if you're looking for that upside shot, which I think here, if you're shooting 2 first, we're shooting upside. We're shooting, give me the running back 2, 3, 4. I think it's a little bit muddled, man. I think it's a little muted. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I don't even actually. I just hate to tell you that I wouldn't do that personally. And I have done things like that and regretted it. So do you, my friend. What do you got?
I got a quick one for you.
Okay, yeah.
So someone mentioned it earlier. Someone mentioned it earlier too, and I just kind of want to get your guys' takes, and I'll give mine last. Where do you guys think Jeanty gets drafted?
Maddie, give me your crystal ball, man. Give me your crystal ball. Come on.
Favorites the Raiders. I think he slips a little bit. Hold on. I can give you a really you go at him because I'm going to look something up.
I'll cover you. All right. I will tell you that to me, I think there's been so much buzz around him going to the Raiders. I think I do think sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. To me, though, I have a feeling that there's going to be a chance where he actually goes to 10, and the Bears at that point kind of have this. They don't expect him to be there, but if he's there, just pull the trigger. All bets are off. You call for the pick, forget it. We're taking Jeanty. I'm also being a little bit. I'm trying to put some hopium into this. Not that I do like DeAndre Swift. If you know, you know. But you put Jeanty in that offense with the 10th overall pick, man. That asset is going to be a scary one in Dynasty.
Okay.
So I think the floor is 12. Dallas. They've shown that they will go elite running back talents in round 1 and use it to their advantage. Javonte Williams, Miles Sanders, get the fuck out of here. That ain't stopping them from getting a Jeanty. So I think the floor is 12, but I think we could see some real diabolical shit that go on for this player in terms of this top 10 because you're hearing that he's routinely ranked in the top 3 or 4 overall on NFL teams' big boards. So with that being said, I think teams might get crazy. Here's a wild scenario that I'm just going to bring up because I think you could talk 6 to the Raiders. I think there's some smoke to 7 to the Jets. Saints are absolutely in play. Bears are in play. There's this scenario I keep thinking about, and I'm working on it for my next mock that'll be coming out at southharmonff.com pretty soon.
I like this. Maddie's leaving no rock unturned.
What if the Giants don't get Travis Hunter and they look at the opportunity to move back instead of taking Abdul Carter? What if the Giants move back to, say, 8 with the Panthers and then say, I'm so sorry, Mr. Mara. We lost you your Saquon, but we got you your Jeanty. We got you your Ashton Jeanty. I think the Giants are a low-key sleeper spot for Ashton Jeanty. And I know the fantasy community, all of us, we're like, no, Tyron Tracy. We've seen running backs with that draft capital get cucked many a times.
I love
We saw
Tyrone.
James Robinson after 2 1,000-yard seasons get cucked. We saw Tyler Algier after a 1,000-yard season get cucked. We see it time and time again. Tyrone Tracy might just be your turn, buddy, but I'm not ruling out the Giants taking Ashton Jeanty in the first round.
If he dies, he dies. Listen, that's my take on Tyrone Tracy. Eric, what was your thought, though?
So I think, and I actually put money on this, it was plus 1,600 when I bet on it the other day. Ashton Jeanty, number 5 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Uncle Lenny?
Travis Etienne
We
is a
have your
free
guy.
agent at the end of the year. And we've seen what Cohen can do with 3 running backs last year with Rashad White and Bucky Irving and Sean Tucker. Basically would have the same exact setup that he had there. And everyone in their mock drafts, every mock draft I see says Mason Graham, Mason Graham, Mason Graham, Mason Graham. Mason Graham's just not a sexy fucking pick. Like, you want to sell some jerseys, you want to put some asses in seats, get that offense up and going, it's Ashton Jeanty, man. And that would really get that Jacksonville offense going. And I've heard it a few times. I think Daniel Jeremiah mentioned it on a mock that he did. I've heard it in a couple other different places. I think it's going to start picking up. Yeah, it's going to start picking up steam, I think, when we get close to the draft. I think Jeanty doesn't even make it to the Raiders. I think Jacksonville is going to take him at 5.
I like it.
Well, I will say this. If you are someone that has the 101 and you've already decided it's a player, not a pick, right? We just gave you some crazy spinning of the world, alternate realities. Here's the thing with Jeanty for me. To your point, I think there's going to be tantalized. He's such a tantalizing player that I think a lot of GMs are in a little bit of a pickle right now. There's that excitement factor that starts making you do things you don't normally do. If you're ever someone that went out and got drunk, all of a sudden, like, you maybe know that's not what you should be doing, but you don't care. And I think that's the type of euphoria that he's putting into a lot of GMs right now that have a top 12 pick. There's just a guy he's tantalizing. We'll see we'll see who bites, but there's not a bad position for me. Like, I don't think there's a scenario that you can lay out to me where I say, damn it, Jeanty's cooked. We're fucked. Like, I don't see a bad one. There's a guy that's going to have top 15 draft capital attached to him. And at least at the moment, none of these landing spots that we've talked about are like horrific offensive lines to where we're completely screwed as far as seeing his upside. Crispy, getting back to your question, this isn't a super chat. You don't necessarily deserve it, but you know what? This is what we do here at South Harmon. We give you more than what you bargained for. 10-team, right? We go back to this 10-team thing. Mike hates this, and since he's not here, I'm going to go back to a 10-team. We're going to go back to a 10-team, you know? Listen, you have Allen and Lamar, okay? If we just don't even think about 10-team, the quarterback, switching it for Fields and Bryce, I personally would much rather have Fields, but it doesn't even matter. I have 2 quarterbacks right now good to go. And this is one of the things in the 10-team league, right? This is why I don't want to play it. I'm not going to speak for Mike. He can speak for himself. He already probably told you why he doesn't like a 10-team league. But basically what happens is there's not enough scarcity at the quarterback position to make Superflex even relevant. So what do you have here? You're basically playing this game of trade back and forth, whack-a-mole with a quarterback. It doesn't matter. Like, you're still trading away Baker. You're getting a quarterback back that's more risky, right? And you're getting back 2 players instead of the higher asset in 106. To the point here, if I'm making this trade, if you have Baker in 106 and you're like, hey, I want to get off of Baker as my quarterback 3, I want you to go do this exercise. I want to make someone dine on Baker, meaning someone's taking Baker and not giving me back a Fields, not giving me back a Bryce Young, not giving me back quarterback 18 to 28. I don't want that shit. It's like, think about quarterback hoarding, okay? It's a lifestyle over here at South Harmon. Don't pollute the deal with your quarterback back. You take Baker in 106, what does that get me in skill players? That is the way in which you want to make this trade, personally.
100% agree. If they want Baker, give them Baker. Don't take back the quarterback. See if you can get Hubbard and Pickens for Baker.
Right.
Keep
And listen,
106.
and listen, I like, honestly, I get it in a 10 team wanting to just shoot for the Fields upside, but like it's just unnecessary here. And also, even if you wanted to swap Baker for Fields and take on that risk, I'm of the mindset I'd rather have 106 than the Pickens and Hubbard piece. So again,
Not even
that's probably more problematic than the quarterback swap in general. So a couple questions here, and we'll get Eric's got a early rise and shine. We're gonna get Eric out of here. As much as I'd love to kick it, and maybe we would another time. Old Fred Bear in a 12-team Superflex best ball. Mike, too bad you're not here, buddy. You see this Superflex best ball 12-team? Huh? We got it all going here. Would you rather have 3 mid, late, second-round picks or a mid-first, let's say 105 or 106? Are 3 shots worth it in best ball, or still the single first the better route? Okay, this is a very, very good question, and it's going to have a lot of different ways in which people can talk about it. One thing I wanted to put, I'm going to ask you guys both your opinion. Old Fred Bear, is this a post-NFL draft? So is the NFL draft happening and then we have our rookie draft, or vice versa? Eric, you start us off. We're in one right now. We're in a 12-team Superflex, start fucking 13, shit 4, shout out. Would you rather have the 105, 106 there, or 3, let's call it mid-second round picks?
Well, I would try and think about what are the elite assets that I think, how many are. I'm thinking there's at least 4 for me right now. So if it's the 105 or 106, like you said, I think I'm okay with doing this because I think this draft is so deep, like especially like how you were just talking. Like if your league is very warp heavy to running backs, like this is prime RB territory where you could just nail 3 running backs, especially in best ball, and you're gonna hit. Like, or even wide receiver heavy, kind of the same thing. Like we've seen in this draft, Jalen Noel just went in the round 3.
Yeah,
Jaden Higgins, I got at the very end of round 2.
Yeah, you got Higgins, and I got Trey Harris, back-to-back picks towards the end of round 2, right? Yep.
Right, exactly. So, like guys that are expected to go at least in round 2 of the draft, you know, there's talks of maybe Higgins sneaking into round
first,
1.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I take with this draft and how it's shaped out and the amount of fantasy assets, I think I'm okay taking the 3 picks in best ball because I'm getting 3 assets that are going to probably play weekly or have a chance to play weekly over just one guy.
Yeah. Maddie, any differing opinions or thoughts on this that are?
No, I don't really. I'm with Eric. I think I'm willing to do this with one exception.
Okay.
This is where the question that you posed, Adam, is so important. If Travis Hunter
post NFL draft, by the way.
Okay.
So I think we'll know for sure if Travis Hunter will be in play at 5 or 6 by then. So
yes,
I think we'll have that question answered as long as if I can't get Hunter. I think for Hunter might change things for me. That's how high I am on Hunter going to a team like the Patriots. Browns, if it's the Browns, we'll see. But I think overall, if we're just saying how it looks now in terms of these mocks, what you can get for the player that's there for 106, 105, I'm taking the 3. Because I think, like you said, you can come up with some of these receivers that might have some sneaky value, or leaving your rookie draft with Scatabo, Giddens, and Martinez might be freak nasty. Like that could be a difference maker in best ball, giving you really quality running backs. And then if you're in a league where tight end doesn't really matter, you can see maybe one of these guys like Loveland or Warren even fall to the mid-second. We're seeing that with a lot of our South Harmon community because we don't give a fuck about tight ends in most formats.
Yep.
And the thing that you won't get this value because you'll know for sure, but we're seeing Jalen Milroe, guys, go a lot of times in the mid-second, and he could be fucking huge value if you're able to trade, let's say, Jackson Dart with the 106 for Milroe, Giddens, and Scatabo. That is how you can truly change the dynamic of your dynasty team. So I think I'm with Eric. I'm making the move. I'm willing to make it.
Yeah, so I think you guys both have kind of already hit the nail on the head as far as this goes. I'll say this: I have a video coming out tomorrow on BDGE YouTube channel, right? BDGE YouTube Dynasty channel, and you can see where, for me, right, with all the different drafts I'm doing, I'm currently managing 18 leagues, and there's plenty of people here that are managing more. And for me, I do this little exercise with my teams just to try to make sure I'm keeping myself honest and that I'm thinking about all the different scenarios that I would like to try and improve my team before I just get on the clock and I just make these draft picks. Because I think what can happen is you look at your team and you ask yourself, my roster construction, like where am I currently and where would I like to go with my team? Like what is the optimal way to get to where I want to go? And you may look at this in the draft pick, what you have, and you're saying, like, dude, I need a quarterback upgrade. Well, guess what? You can go ahead and make that 105, 106, but you're not fucking doing your best damn job of improving your quarterback if you're either drafting one at 105 or 106 and not trying to figure out how to move that type of value as well as whatever else you have into a different trade, into a quarterback, right? The reason I say that is because the one exception to this where I would want the first is if I'm assessing my team. So let's say I'm going over my teams right now, right? And I'm looking at all my different teams and I'm looking at this one specific team with this league, old Fred, and I'm saying, whatever your scenario is, you're looking like, I need to make a trade. To me, still, even in this format, we would all take, once these picks become players, our shots at Damian Martinez, whichever running backs end up falling back there, right? Let's even say it's Damian Martinez. I don't even care. You can RJ Harvey. We'll have the draft capital too in the landing spots, so you'll get 3 shots there versus whatever I take at 106, as long as it's not a guy like Travis Hunter to the Patriots and they say he's going to be a full-time receiver, right? The difference though is that is players again. That changes the dynamic of the conversation. If you're telling me picks, if I come to some person even in the best ball league and I say here's 206, 208, 207, and I'm trying to go get an asset that's top 50. They're fucking telling me to kick rocks, laughing at me in my face. You give 105 plus a player on my team, I can kind of navigate my way to any asset I want to in a best ball league. So that's where I think sometimes the questions can be more convoluted than what meets the eye. If you're needing to trade this before you make the selection, I want that first. Easy, not a question. But if you're telling me you're not going to be able to do that and you're going to make the selections, I want 3 shots in the second round every single time in this format. So that's the big difference for me. We'll get one question answered, and then I promised Eric we'll get him out of here. So we will get him out of here. Let me know if that answers your question, old Fred, and appreciate you stopping by. Hey, listen, I'm just going to acknowledge. What's up, Buster?
What's up, Buster?
Buster McRib, man. It's just Buster here, you know?
Buster McRib.
Dude, listen, man. You want to talk about shit sandwich? I mean, the McRib, right? Like, looks kind of like it. It's a South Harmon sandwich if you ever saw one. Chasing breakers, right? Tear down for Lamar. Tear down for Lamar? I don't know how you tear down for Lamar. Let me just read the question. In a 12-team, 6-point passing touchdown superflex, Lamar for Baker or T-Law. So would you rather have Lamar or Baker, 103 A.J. Brown in a 12-team superflex? Is this a lineup league? This is like, I would say the lineup or best ball plus how many starters is massively important in this type of a trade.
Mm-hmm.
Like shallow lineup, 6-point per passing touchdown. You're telling me it's lineup start 9, start 10, 12-team? I like the assets, but I like Lamar better.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
The other one is Lamar and Tua. Lamar and Tua for May, Herbert, and Devontae. That one I definitely want Lamar side. The first part of the question, chasing breakers, I'm curious if you guys have differing opinions too. If it's lineup start 9 or start 10, I want the Lamar side pretty easily. If we get to start 11, start 12, I think I could maybe make the case for splitting that asset up.
He posted what the actual trade is and lineup, start 10, 3 receiver.
Okay, 12-team lineup start 10 with 3 receivers. Sorry, the trade was Lamar and the 209 for A.J. Brown, Baker, and the 103. Where are you guys at here? Like, just thinking this one out, right? A.J. Brown, Baker, and Hampton. Travis Hunter, a quarterback again, right? Where are you at?
Right. So, I always think of Scott Connor when it comes to these questions, and he tells me I am never tearing down from a tier 1 quarterback unless I'm getting another tier 1 quarterback back. And you're not getting another tier 1 quarterback back in this one. So I'll stick with the Lamar and the 209 side on this one.
Maddie?
Yeah, I
You
kind
ready to fight? You ready to go to you? Come on. Are you ready or no?
The argument, if I was to be forced to take the other side, let's say that's the case.
Yeah.
The 6-point passing touchdown does make it. I mean, if you look at the warp from last year, Lamar was a runaway, but Baker was one of the more successful pocket passers in fantasy last year, according to warp.
Yeah, and a 6-point per passing touchdown, he was anywhere from quarterback 3 to 5, depending on in warp. He
was very good. A.J. Brown is a difference maker. And especially in the 3 receivers, does give a little bit of inflation to the A.J. Brown side of things. And then 103, I think we're kind of saying it's Hampton, but there's a world where it's Cam Ward.
Yeah.
There's a world where it's Jeanty. There's a world where this is a holy fuck, he fell to the 103.
Unless Michael Crystal is in this fucking draft, 103 and Jeanty don't mix. But everything else you said, I'm 100% on. There's no way Jeanty gets to 103.
But there will be rookie drafts where we see Ward, Hunter be the one to
100%.
if Hunter gets the dream spot.
Yep.
So if it's Jeanty, if it's Hunter with a good, because it could be Hunter with a dream landing spot, it could be Jeanty, Cam Ward. So that's the argument that I would make is the Lamar tear down. If you're looking at warp for the 6-point per passing, you're still in the range of an elite potential tier 1 fantasy producer, not talent in fantasy like Lamar is, but producer like Baker did last year. You're also adding potentially 2 weekly producers, difference makers in terms of warp per your starting lineup. That's the argument I would make.
Yeah, I mean, and to be completely frank, if you go with the package here, right? If you want the bigger package, let's say, right? That is the argument. That's the case. I think. So I'm in more best ball than I am in lineup. But when it comes to a lineup league, when we're talking in this format specifically, lineup start 10, I'm in it's fade the fetal. It's a BDGE league, and I have built a team on paper, right, that's really good. My problem is, so let me just give you the scenario, right? I have at quarterback, I have Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy, I have Dak Prescott, and Russell Wilson, right? So those are my 4 quarterbacks. I have some Deshaun Watson who's turned to dust. Fucking Russell Wilson turned to dust, right? But I'm flush with depth at quarterback. And then I have Malik Neighbors. I have Garrett Wilson. I have JSN, DJ Moore, DK Metcalf, Chris Godwin. I have Jahmyr Gibbs, Najee Harris, so on and so forth. Here's the problem, right? Think about it like this. I would honestly think about it in this format. Think of Lamar like you think of a tube of toothpaste. When you go to use a tube of toothpaste, right, that shit looking all nice and pretty, whatever your little Trident, whatever brand you like, right? That's what an elite quarterback is. However, if you start to push that toothpaste out, right, like basically going back into the tube is so impossible. Basically for me in this league, Josh Allen owners telling me fuck off. Doesn't exist. He's going to die on my roster.
That's right.
The only person I can even get to talk to me about it is Lamar, and I'm going to have to trade Malik. I'm going to have to trade Garrett Wilson and probably add in one of my daughters plus Dak Prescott. Like that's basic to the point. It's where if you're considering a quarterback a true elite asset versus what Baker is right now, where torn. People are basically putting him in the quarterback 15, middling quarterback 2 range. The world's it's fucking Uranus. Legitimately, right? It's Uranus. That's what can happen if you don't have the Lamar side of things. That's the planet that you're on. It's really hard to trade for an elite quarterback. And if you're going to give the edge to the Malik Neighbors and Jaden Daniels thing when Mike and I went back and forth, it's just simply that Jaden Daniels plays the fucking position and is the elite asset at the position that people don't want to lose in a 12-team start 10. Mm-hmm. For me, this is the Lamar side. And the reason I'll say that in the final thing, even if you don't like that whole analogy, you're like, that doesn't make sense to me, Adam. You're talking gibberish. Think about it this way. Can I find someone that gives me A.J. Brown light scoring? And can I find someone to fill my roster construction, maybe not the 103 in Dynasty value, but can give me that type of warp? 1,000% the answer is yes.
209 right there.
Could
In
be
this
that.
class,
Could be that
209.
Damian Martinez, Cam Scatterbo right there at 209. Boom. Like, yes, it's a lot easier to work it in the inverse, in my estimation, than to potentially risk this for Lamar. The other thing is, if I was trading Lamar and I was in that business, A.J. Brown reaching cliff territory soon, Baker Mayfield just unsturdy, unsexy dynasty value in the 103, while it sounds good, isn't someone that is guaranteed in a year from now to retain elite dynasty value. Lamar may be a first-round pick, and everyone else that you have in this trade is round 3, round 4. Start 10 again. I want to tear up. That's all I got, fellas. That's not all I got, because I got these two beautiful, strapping lads with me, man. Appreciate you guys hopping on. One thing to note in the description, right? Go down and check out our South Harmon Redraft Fantasy Football channel. It's out there. It's live. It's beautiful. It's colorful. And these two gentlemen are going to help lead the charge of the Redraft channel, which doesn't have content yet, but will be coming out soon in this offseason. They're going to be bringing it to you on a weekly, consistent basis. I'm excited for it. So make sure you go down and check out that one, sub to that channel, and as soon as we start launching videos, you're in the know. So, fellas, appreciate you hopping on. Any final thoughts or plugs or things you wanted to say?
SouthHarmonFF.com. Get the rookie guide. Become a member of the Patreon, Discord, South Harmon community. Let's ride, baby. The season will be here before you fucking know it.
Shit, you ain't lying.
Yeah, there's all kinds of good things on the South Harmon FF website. You got Warp, if you got that beautiful shirt Adam's wearing. You want to buy some merch? Got merch on there. We got man, we haven't done a fucking team review in a while. Let's get some team reviews going. I love doing team reviews. You want right before your rookie draft, you want to know how to use your picks, what you should be looking for. Sign up for a team review from one of us. We'll be happy to help you out. If you want to join us live and talk to us live, ask us questions, pick our brains, you can do that too. That's always cool. And then tomorrow, America's Game, 3-hour fucking long audio fucking book for you guys with Alan Seslowski. Gonna be fun. So make sure you guys check that out tomorrow.
And speaking of which, exactly. If you feel right now I'm being a little unfair to you, you just tapped in, you're like, damn it, don't go. Listen, I don't do things without thinking about it somewhat first, okay? Eric, this guy right here, I could keep him up all night and make him miserable tomorrow at work, or you could just wait a little bit longer, right? Kind of like this draft. It's just around the corner. 3-hour marathon on America's Game with Alan Seslowski, which, by the way, between like Eric having Alan on for America's Game or Alan having myself, Fizz, Eric, there's a RotoWire South Harmon baby in the mix. I don't know what the hell that would be, what kind of an inbred animal that would be, but it's one feisty, electric time. Make sure you go check out America's Game tomorrow. Dropping early in the AM, so you ride to work, wherever the hell you want to go. You want to get away from the house. You just take a little venture. Go ahead and do that. You know, you'll be good to go. Fellas, appreciate you tapping in. And Jay Jackson is here. And I got a 10-team, 1-quarterback need that needs some help. Listen, Jay, the great part is, too, you can ask for your own person. You can pick who you want to do it. Michael Crystal is available for 10-team, 1-quarterback team reviews. It is a good time. We love you. We'll see you guys back here. Same time, same place for AMA next week. We're out of here. Peace.
See ya.